What's up? Welcome back. I'm John Stark from MacMovieGuy.com, your favorite blind film critic, and today I'm going to talk about Mob Cops. Just in case you want to rent it, you probably shouldn't. You probably shouldn't make that life choice for yourself. But this film does have available audio description that was done by Descriptive Video Works, so it's on the table, so to speak. It is on the table. Is it in play for other blind and low vision film watchers like myself? So I watched it for you. For you, my people. Click like and subscribe. Let me know if you've seen Mob Cops. Because I don't think anybody has, including the people in Mob Cops, or literally anybody. I'm pretty certain I'm the first person who's ever seen this movie. I think everybody's just grading this movie on vibes. So, what is Mob Cops? What did I stumble into? What did I choose to watch? It's a mob drama with Kevin Connelly and David Arquette, which sounds like the weirdest two people that you could possibly choose to lead a movie about the mob. Like if you could think of two people, at least if we had people who were inappropriate and like young, you could get maybe like some interest in terms of box office, Timothée Chalamet, Jacob Elordi, Mob Cops. It doesn't sound like it's going to be a great movie, but there might be people who show up for those two. I don't know that there are people showing up for Kevin Connelly and David Arquette, but that's that. David had more of a career. Unfortunately, not since the Scream movie where Dewey finally Dewey'd. What is this about? I don't know. It's a true story, I guess. At least at the end of the movie, they talk about it like it is. I just don't feel like fact-checking this movie. There have to be better things that I can do with my time in life than fact-checking Mob Cops. It's not actually that terrible of a movie. Like, I've definitely seen worse movies this year. It's just not a good movie. And Kevin Connelly and David Arquette don't feel like they should be playing mob people or police officers, which is unusual for David Arquette because he's been playing a police officer in Scream for like decades. So, both of them sound like that they've had hard times to like vocally when they're speaking. I don't know what it is they're doing with their voice, but they both sound like, I'm not even going to joke about it, but sort of like I watched Steven Dorff in Gunslingers. I was like, what's the choice here? What are we doing with our voice? What's happening? I just saw you in something a couple years ago and you're fine. What's going on with the voice? So I have no idea what's happening with these guys, but they don't sound good. They don't sound healthy, by the way. They sound like that they're making this movie before they die. Like, it sounds like not great. But the movie that's around them isn't terrible. It's set up where this woman wants to know whatever happened to her son because there was never a body, nobody ever found. She never heard anything about it. He's just gone. And she knows that he got into that life and ran with that crowd. So she's sort of asking, pleading for help, and these guys try to investigate the crimes, but also acknowledge the fact that there was, through the mob, that there were sort of like there was this overlap in police corruption, that there were dirty cops that got bought, and so it tells this story, but it tells it through like interviews. Like, it goes and interviews people in prison, and they're like, to tell us what we want to know, and maybe we can help you get out of here. It's like one of those things where like, all right, fine. Well, so what happened was, and then you flash back to some part of the story that is slowly building over time, having to do with this boy, but also it's like an amalgamation of perspective and flashbacks to create something that was, I guess, okay. But it's one of those things that mob movies, we have a lot of them. So you have to kind of ask yourself what it is that we're doing here. Because when you kind of look at the best ones, there's sort of a grandiose performance that backs them, and that lacks here. There isn't really a grandiose performance here. It feels just sort of like a lackluster thing because the only two actors who would agree to do the film were Kevin Connelly and David Arquette. So, and they're horribly miscast in a mob movie or as police officers or anything really. But there isn't somebody playing a mob boss who's doing a great job. It does kind of sound like that, at least if they didn't get a whole bunch of character actors who are typically used to playing mob types, or at least heavies in movies, you know, just those guys in the background. I don't think any of these guys have ever been able to play like a lead in something, but at least if they've been able to stand in the background, maybe they look like mafioso types. At least they kind of sound like they have like New York Italian accents. So for everyone who's not David Arquette and Kevin Connelly that I just don't know, they actually felt more appropriately cast for the movie than David Arquette and Kevin Connelly were, the two name actors that would draw anybody to this project. So, I don't know. It's just not that interesting of a story. The audio description by Descriptive Video Works is just fine. It's fine and dandy. It checked all the boxes. I didn't have a problem with it. It sounds great. It's mixed great. The writing is fantastic. It was like a new writer that I was unfamiliar with, and a narrator's voice that I swear I'd heard before, but I've never heard that name said at the end of a project. So it's either someone who sounds exactly like another narrator, or that some narrators have multiple names. I know this sounds crazy, but there's one narrator that is sort of prolific, and it's not his real name. And he's also narrated under his real name before. So it makes it sort of like if you find the right film and the right project where his real name is attached and you hear that voice, you'll figure it out. But then on every other film he uses, it's like he made a decision early on in his voiceover career to switch. I don't want to out him, but there is somebody who's on a lot of movies. But I've also heard the movie that lists him with his real name. So I know what that is. And I think this might be that if I bothered to connect it to like another situation like that to someone that I've heard before. So yeah, I don't really have much to say about Mob Cops. Every once in a while, there's just these movies that are not enthusiastic. There's not really much to say. There's not really much here. There's nothing, I can't really say anything good about it except for the fact that it just isn't the worst thing I've seen all year. And some of the supporting actors, again, who are not Kevin Connelly or David Arquette, are fine. I wasn't that intrigued by the plot. I didn't really care if they ever found the boy. They didn't really, you know, I think the thing maybe to fix would have been getting a more, you know, magnetic actor to just sort of pull us in. So that way we're like, oh, who's this guy? Who dared kill this? Who killed Timothy Chalamet? But yeah, nobody was going to want to touch this with a 10-foot pole. I have a feeling it probably doesn't look great in terms of being shot. Probably low budget. So it's just on thought. It's going to be somewhere, and it might continue to have audio description, but if you want to rent it, there is available audio description. I just wanted to, just like I did with many other films this year, I've taken the bullet for you. Shadow of the Wolf, Gunslingers, Alarum. I watched some really crappy movies with audio description just because they have audio description to prove if you put audio description on something, I will probably watch it. Anyway, that's it. Thanks for watching. Thanks for subscribing. And I will see you guys on the other side.